One of Mike Mentzer's most lasting contributions to bodybuilding extends beyond his high-intensity training methodology. It's his steadfast conviction that compound movements alone are enough for complete muscular development, including the arms. In a fitness culture saturated with near-religious adherence to isolation exercises like curls and triceps extensions, Mentzer presented a bold departure from convention: get rid of them altogether. Instead, he endorsed close-grip pull-downs and parallel bar dips, compound, multi-joint movements, as the foundation for building thick, strong arms. This video examines Mentzer's reasoning, supported by biomechanics, scientific studies, and anecdotal observation, for dismissing isolation work as unnecessary when proper compound exercises are part of a program. Pull-downs, the best biceps exercise? Mentzer famously asserted that the close-grip supinated pull-down, commonly labeled a lat-focused exercise, was actually the most effective way to train the biceps. He said,
"Well, let's look at the pull-downs. While most people think of them exclusively as a lat exercise, and they are very good for the lats, they are also very effective in working the rear delts. And it just so happens to be true, audience, the close-grip palms-up pull-down is the best bicep exercise in the world, better than any curl you could do."
His reasoning was firmly grounded in biomechanics.
When you do a curl, whether it's a barbell curl, a nautilus curl, a dumbbell curl, whatever, you're working this muscle around a single joint axis, the elbow, which is why the stress is limited exclusively to the lower bicep, if you've noticed. When doing a close-grip palms-up pull-down, on the other hand, you're working the bicep around the joint, the elbow joint, and the shoulder. The muscle is contracting more uniformly from both ends.
This observation carries considerable anatomical weight. Since the biceps brachii crosses both the elbow and shoulder joints, the close-grip supinated pull-down engages the muscle through both. Curls mainly involve elbow flexion, emphasizing the lower insertion of the biceps. In contrast, pull-downs combine elbow flexion and shoulder extension, activating both the origin at the shoulder and the insertion at the forearm. The supinated grip further enhances biceps activation. This dual-joint engagement supports Mentzer's argument for a fuller, more balanced contraction, potentially leading to more complete development than a single-joint movement can provide. Dips, the ultimate triceps mass builder. Similarly, Mentzer extolled the dip as the most powerful upper-body pressing movement and the top-tier triceps exercise.
Think of the dip as the upper body squat. You cannot beat it. It is the best pec exercise in the world, the best shoulder and tricep exercise. Dips are by far, without a doubt, they're unparalleled. They are the best exercise for pecs, delts, and triceps.
When executed with full range and control, dips load the triceps heavily, particularly during lockout. Unlike pushdowns or kickbacks that isolate the elbow, dips demand shoulder stabilization and core control, increasing complexity and load, making them more effective overall. And Mentzer's comparison of the dip to a squat isn't hyperbole. Anatomically, dips involve coordinated movement across multiple joints. The pec major powers shoulder adduction and extension, while the anterior deltoid helps stabilize the joint. The triceps brachii, crossing both elbow and shoulder, handles elbow extension and assists in shoulder movement. This integrated function allows tension to spread across all the muscle fibers involved, just like squats do for the legs. From another anatomical angle, the dip superiority for the triceps stems from engaging both primary actions of the muscle, elbow extension and shoulder adduction. The triceps' three heads are all activated, especially the long head, which contributes to shoulder movement. As the body descends and rises, the triceps extend the elbows and pull the upper arms inward, maximizing recruitment and mimicking functional compound movements, exactly as Mentzer advocated. Gymnasts, real-world evidence. Mentzer pointed to elite gymnasts as striking real-world proof of his claims. not because of the complexity or volume of their sport-specific training, but because of the simplicity and effectiveness of the movements that built their physiques. Using just a few basic pieces of equipment, the parallel bars, rings, and horizontal bar, gymnasts perform basic pushing and pulling patterns that closely mirror the mechanics of dips and close-grip pull-downs. These bodyweight compound movements alone are responsible for a gymnast's upper body development, including biceps and triceps size, that rivals that of advanced bodybuilders. And what gymnasts don't do is equally revealing. Gymnasts aren't building their arms with preacher curls or concentration curls. Their biceps develop through high-tension pulling movements like pull-ups on the rings and bar. Likewise, their triceps aren't the result of French presses or dumbbell kickbacks, but of heavy pressing work on the parallel bars that challenges the triceps through a full range of motion. In other words, when a demanding multi-joint movement is applied in a resistance training context using progressive overload, it is fully capable of maximizing arm development, no isolation work required. As Mike pointed out,
did any of you happen to catch or watch the Olympics from Atlanta a couple summers ago on sports? There were 3 Americans who worked the parallel bars, you may recall, 3 American gymnasts who worked the parallel bars that possessed pecs, shoulders, and arms like those of an advanced bodybuilder, literally. Not just, kind of beginning bodybuilders, but advanced bodybuilders. One of my recent phone clients happens to be deeply involved in the world of gymnastics, and he knows those 3 guys. He told me that people ask them all the time if they lift weights, and they don't. They develop those big upper bodies doing dips. And then just last Sunday, I happened to tune in literally by accident to ABC Wide World of Sports and a gymnastics competition. At one point, they did a close-up of Ivan Ivanko. Have you ever heard of him? Incredibly heavily muscled guy. As he was putting chalk on his hands in preparation for the overhead horizontal bar where you do chin-ups mostly. As he supinated the palm of his right hand to put on the chalk, his bicep isolated and popped out. It looked as big and even more defined as most advanced, even professional bodybuilders.
Science backs the compound-only approach. Modern research offers compelling validation for Mike Mentzer's view that isolation work is unnecessary for the arms when compound movements like dips and close-grip pull-downs are already part of a training routine. Across multiple studies, adding single-joint arm exercises to programs built on multi-joint lifts has shown no measurable advantage in muscle growth or strength gains in the arms. A foundational study by Rogers et al. Compared individuals performing only compound lifts, such as the bench press and lat pull-down, to those who included isolation movements for the arms, like curls and extensions. The results revealed no significant differences in upper arm size or strength between the 2 groups. 13 years after this study, in 2013, another study was performed that also revealed that the inclusion of single-joint exercises in a multi-joint exercise training program resulted in no additional benefits in terms of muscle size or strength gains in untrained young men. In 2015, yet another study, published in Applied Physiology, Nutrition, and Metabolism, reported the same thing, this time among subjects with at least 2 years of training history, causing the researchers to state, quote, "In conclusion, 8 weeks of resistance training involving multiple joint or multiple joint plus single joint resulted in similar alterations in muscle strength and size in trained participants. Therefore, the addition of single joint exercises to a resistance training program involving multiple joint exercises does not seem to promote additional benefits to trained men, suggesting multi-joint only resistance training to be a time-efficient approach." Close quote. Together, these data points firmly support Mentzer's principle. Compound exercises, when chosen and executed correctly, are sufficient and efficient for maximizing upper arm development. Efficiency over redundancy. Mike Mentzer's goal was not just brevity in workouts, it was precision. He believed in applying rational analysis to every aspect of training. As Mike once told me during a phone interview,
Break away entirely from tradition and find out for yourself how little training is really required. Arthur Jones, by the way, John, said years ago that we've been asking the wrong question all these years. The question should not have been how much exercise do we need, but how little do we require.
This insight is especially potent in the face of the common belief that arms must be overwhelmed with curls and extensions to grow. But if pull-downs already recruit the biceps through both joints, and dips fully activate the triceps through elbow extension and shoulder movement, what more can isolation offer? According to the evidence, nothing. Conclusion: reclaiming simplicity. Mike Mentzer's endorsement of dips and pull-downs as the ultimate arm-building tools was neither dogmatic nor coincidental. It was rooted in rigorous analysis, lived experience, and long-term observation. Modern scientific literature only strengthens his case. When done with intensity and through a full range of motion, these compound movements not only suffice for arm development, they may outperform traditional isolation routines. In a fitness era obsessed with volume and complexity, Mentzer's minimalist, evidence-based approach remains a powerful antidote. Fewer exercises, more intensity, smarter application, and ultimately, bigger arms.
Well, remember, the goal is not to see how many sets you can mindlessly endure, but to intelligently, knowingly, rationally, logically do only what nature requires to activate the growth mechanism and no more.